Well. What do
Hey,
we
here we
have
go.
going on?
Oh, a lot evidently. Like
Yeah.
it's like a juicy. It's a juicy week,
Yeah.
right? Like,
It is.
maybe, you know what? Maybe actually, I maybe not a lot going on, but
Yeah.
what is going on is quite juicy.
Yeah. It's like, we wait all year for interesting news in the ultra running space,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we finally got some. Uh,
and it just dumps it all at once too, right? Like it's
yeah.
not like it was like here you go.
Right. And I didn't even put all the dramatic news in our show notes this week.
Yeah,
Like,
so like yeah, I
some
there's
of it I don't think we can really touch right
well,
now.
there's one person that you're just like, you know what, we don't even need to talk about this person anymore. Like they are the drama. We don't need to talk about them anymore.
Yeah, pretty
So
much. But hey, I did notice that maybe your build up to training has started.
just a little bit. We are trying to keep it smart. We are trying to keep it smart. And so it is just we are going to try to get to that 50K in October.
I was just on that website today, actually,
Yeah, so
looking
we're
at it.
just going to try to get that. It is funny because it's obviously very early, very early, but I do already have that like dread, that feeling of like, damn it, like I can already feel that the 50K training is going to take a load on that muscle, and
Yeah,
that it might like 50Ks, 50 milers might be that might be the max for like I don't know. It's funny because like I already feeling some of the that swelling and inflammation, that muscle and that tendon.
like yeah,
So
just
I
from
could
past
see,
experience, you know how that it's flaring up.
yeah, yeah. And so it's like, dude, I can like, and who knows? Like maybe once some miles start ramping up, maybe it'll be like it'll just chill out and I'll stop. I'm gonna keep going and getting dry needled and keep maybe I'll get a little bit more aggressive on the dry needling and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, we it was a very slow shuffle. I I did do some hill repeats on like Saturday. Did hill repeats on Saturday, and then like did a little jog on Monday. Wait, what is? Yeah, I did a little jog on Monday. Today's Wednesday. Did a little jog today. Um, I will tell you, Saturday did a hill repeat. Sunday and Monday, the calves were sore to the touch
Yeah.
from the hill repeats, which is not a good sign because you shouldn't be using your calves a lot on. Like you shouldn't be using your calves on hill repeats, really. You know what I mean?
That's
Uh,
what gets sore on me when I run hills.
Yeah, so I was like, "Well, damn, that's not like that's no bueno." But who knows? Like like I said, just going it's going to be a extraordinarily low volume 50K train, extraordinarily low volume.
Yeah, better to go in a little undertrained
Yeah,
than
yeah,
injured.
eh, yeah. And so like you and I, like what is it? I think the max miles. Uh, yeah, oh wait, there's a 45. Yeah, it's like the max miles for this training cycle is 45, and I only hit it once.
Yeah,
So I mean, like
that's pretty doable.
that's pretty doable. I mean, especially when you consider what I think 45 would probably damn near be the low miles on a 100-mile training
Oh,
program.
yeah. I mean, like rest weeks would be around 35 miles, maybe.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So like when that's your
Yeah,
peak, you know what I mean. I feel
yeah,
like the body will be able to get through it. So we'll see. We'll see. How
yeah,
about you? Anything shuffling back around since we got back from Coco?
yeah. We in Memorial Weekend, it was just this last weekend, and we went up to the Bay Area uh, for the weekend, and was able to go on, get a run in the Presidio, did a hike in the Headlands, kind of revisiting some of the stomping grounds from the last
Some of the
6
old
years.
haunts. Yeah.
Man, yeah, it's some good running in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. But yeah, let's jump into some stuff here. We got a lot to talk
Yeah.
about. But first, before we get into anything, I do want to thank our listener Robert. He wrote an article about us in Substack, and we really appreciate him. He's one of these listeners that will interact with us on social media, and he's a newer-ish to ultra running, so he you can tell he's got that excitement for it.
He hasn't been beat the fuck up yet.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's fun interacting with him and kind of reliving that whole beginning stages of discovery.
Yeah.
But yeah, he wrote an article about us on Substack and how he found us, and I will say Robert is the inspiration for our 3Ts segment. We asked for feedback and he mentioned.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He mentioned that that he likes when we talk about tips or tricks.
Yeah.
And Johnny came up with the title 3Ts: tips, tricks, and thoughts.
Yeah.
So
triple T, baby.
Yeah, but yeah, Robert has 6 days in the Dome coming up in less than a month, so it'll be fun to follow. They have a live stream, I think.
That is a I feel like for a newer ultra runner, that's jumping pretty far into the deep-ish shape as far as like timed events go, right? Like there's a lot of like local yokel, like pretty lowbrow, like timed events that you could probably do.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know what? Nah, let's just do 6 days in the Dome.
Hell yeah.
So that's pretty fucking cool.
That's run on a 443.445 meter oval track at the Pettit Ice Center in Milwaukee. So that's
basically a quarter mile.
And that's gonna be a lot of loops.
It's a lot of fucking loops. It's funny because I actually have a coworker of mine that out of nowhere he pinged me today, and he's like, "Hey man, I've gotten addicted to watching something. I wanted to hit you up about it. I figured you'd know about it. I'm really hooked on watching this like last man standing ultra that's going on right now." And I'm like, "Oh, no shit." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Dude," he's like, "this whole mentality of just like, can I get one more in?" He's like, "I really fucking dig this."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Dude, like, yeah, that like those last man standing ones are fucked up." Like they are. And I told him, like, "Dude,
is this a backyard or a last man standing?" Like I've seen some variations of a backyard where they call it last man standing.
Yeah, I think this is a last man. I don't think it's a true backyard. I don't think so. I don't think it's like, because like when I think of backyards, I think of them, they fall under the LAS hierarchy, right? And so I do think this is more of a, like, this is not following up. Like, you're not qualifying. You're not ultimately getting to the next. So I think this is more of a last man standing. And so I actually have a meeting with you tomorrow. I'm kind of curious what one he was watching. But he's just fascinating. But yeah, the last man standing ones are really interesting. The timed events are weirdly interesting. Kudos to Robert for wanting to do one on a quarter mile loop. I personally, I think you and I've talked about this. I personally would need to have a 1 mile loop.
Yeah.
Like I need to know that every one of my loops was at least 1 mile.
Is building, yeah.
Yeah, there's something really like soul crushing about, well, there goes a quarter of a mile, or like even like I feel like, I don't know. I feel like in a weird way, the ones that would really fuck with my head would be the ones that are like 0.83 miles. because you'd never really, you know what I mean? Like, there's no like, it's not divisible or whatever. I don't know what the word. It's not even fraction or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I get it. I get it. I did the 6 hour on a 1 mile loop, and I like that actually. You know, but quarter mile. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll try it, but I also like the 1 mile or 2 mile or 3 mile.
Yeah.
All right. So there wasn't too many races over the weekend, but there was a couple international ones that are high profile. And FKTs, we have one on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington, which is near Seattle. And also John Kelly his Appalachian Trail attempt is underway. He actually did an update about, I don't know, an hour and a half ago on his day 4. So we'll go over that. And it's been a wild week with ultra running news. We'll get into all the details on the big story. There's really two kind of big stories, but one is kind of taking the cake here. And our 3 T's is how to choose a race. Like, what race do you choose? And I kind of thought about this when I found out that Robert was doing 6 days in the Dome. I'm like, I wonder how he came to that decision to run 6 days in the Dome.
Yeah.
And it might even be in one of his Substack articles that, you know, I did see one about something about the Dome, so I need to read that a little closer. But I think we can talk about, you know, how we've chosen races and what factors people should take into consideration. So, all right, let's talk. First race, it's not an ultra, but it just kind of falls into the whole trail running ultra scene. It's pretty high profile every year, and that's Zegama, which is a marathon that has almost 9,000 feet of climbing. It's very technical. It's in Basque Country in Spain. We covered this last year. I believe it was Killian Jornet that won last year. And
because there was a video of him. There's a video of him going up the mountain,
that's true.
Like in a dead ass sprint, almost looking like thing.
Yeah, and he was battling out with El Hussein Elazio, the guy that does really well in the Golden Trail World Series. And I remember like that downhill when he passed him, it was just like, holy shit, like insane. But Killian's won this event like 10 times. This is a 24th year for Zegama. And like I said, it's always just stacked with high profile runners. And this year, the El Hussein Lazio of Morocco, who, like I said, was second to Killian last year, ended up pulling out the win as Zegama. So pretty cool. And Andrew Blaines from Spain was second. And I will say El Hussein's time was 3 hours and 43 minutes.
Days.
Yeah. How do you do a marathon with almost 9,000 feet of climbing on a technical course in 3 hours and 43 minutes? This doesn't compute.
I mean, I can't do that on the Columbus Marathon Road.
I've never finished a half road marathon in under 2 hours. So,
I mean, that's like, I can't even do it on the road. So,
and Andrew Blaine's second place was 3 hours and 50, and Daniel Pattis was 3 hours and 51 for third. So, I mean,
it's funny because
they were close.
I was reading an article that we have up right now. And it was talking about, you know, Blaine's is not known on the trail. Like, Blaine's is not traditionally a trail runner. And so what really kind of stood out to me is there's a photo of him at the finish line, and it looks like, I can't tell if that's blood or paint or what that is on his face. But I was like, did my dude fall and bust his ass?
Shit, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't tell. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
No, that's blood, man.
And
It
so that looks
looks like he got shot right under his
yeah,
eye.
right. Like I'm like, what the fuck? What happened to homie?
Yeah.
So and it gets done in an article. Like they don't even talk about it. I'm like, how the
Huh.
how's a dude going to finish looking like that? There's
Yeah.
nothing in there. But anyways, yeah, I just kind of thought that was interesting. He led
Yep.
for a little bit too. So I was like, well,
Yeah, I
did he
saw
fall?
that.
Is that why? Like, what happened? Like,
He had a 1 minute lead over the chase pack by
yeah,
the first checkpoint at 8.5K. So early on.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yep.
So the next race though, super cool. Just to
Well,
keep
yeah,
just to keep us moving because I know we got some cool shit to talk about later on.
yeah, I do want to just go over the women
Oh
finishers real quick. Sarah Alonso from Spain, 4 hours and 27 for first. Judith Weiler, Switzerland, 4 hours 29. And Malin Osa from Spain, 4 hours 31 for third. Malin Osa is a really cool runner. We follow her on her Instagram account. Yeah, she trains her ass off, and she seems like a really cool person. So it was good to see her coming in third. Yeah, so the next race is, I don't even have a website for it. I guess I could pull up the results page, but this race starts at Dracula's Castle. It's in Bran, Romania. I mean, that has Dracula written all over it.
Yeah, dude, it is wild.
And this is a pretty popular event. I remember hearing about it in years past. The Transylvania 100K. They also have a bunch of other distances, but the feature event is the 100K. And Emily Keddy from the United States got first for the women in 18 hours and 30 minutes. And Francoise Dehaene comes out and just dominates in 12 hours and 47 minutes for the win. So it's good to see him out on the circuit, winning some races. So looks like he's back. The next race is the Stumptown Trail Runs, and this is in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
This race takes place on the trails in Forest Park. I know we covered this one last year too. These are really awesome trails in Forest Park. It's the famous Wildwood Trail is part of it. And, these are just like really nice trails, man. Like, I mean, it's just, it's running through that Pacific Northwest forest. It's like, it's the whole deal, man. The smells,
these are the nice enough trails that if a person were to be looking to move to Portland, Oregon, you would maybe want to be close to this park.
Forest Park.
Yeah, Forest Park. So you maybe want to be like, oh, allow me to see where Forest Park is and allow me to see what condos are like around Forest Park.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just maybe that's what you would do.
There's legit 70 miles of trails in Forest Park. That's
crazy.
Urban park, folks.
Yeah.
But anyways, the Stumptown Trail runs 50K. It was called Trail Factor 50K when I ran it back in 2015, but they've since changed the name. And this is races put on by Go Beyond Racing, and they're the ones that put on Mountain Lakes 100, which I did last year. Great race company. I can't say enough good things about them. Their races are awesome. So if you're in the Pacific Northwest, seek out Go Beyond Racing's races and run them because they're very well done, and it's good small race company, and they do a great job. All right, so let's see the results from the 50K this year. Mino Giunta won the race in 3 hours and 45 minutes. Ajay Hansball, 3 hours and 46 for second, and John Kavalich, third, 3 hours and 58. So first, the podium men all came in under 4 hours, and Stephanie Couts was first for the women, 4 hours and 43. Jamie Gibbs second, 4 hours and 49, and Clara Cuthbert 4:50 for third. Sugar Badger was this weekend as well. That's the Sugar Badger 50/50. They are put on by 10 Junk Miles. Scotty Coomer has that podcast, 10 Junk Miles. That's a really cool group. They're always fun to listen to their podcast. They're all just down to earth people.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So they put on this Sugar Badger, and I guess it's flat, soft, scenic trails that nestle bridges and scenic vistas and quarter-mile tunnel. It's a very nice race. Great for first-timers, they say. And let's look at the 50K. Oh, I'm not even sharing the right tab. Martin Earl, 3 hours and 12 minutes first. Dustin Parrish, 3:51 second. Jeff Friedman, 3:59 third. For the women, Teresa Howe, 4:21 for first. Laura Klosterboer, 4:44 second. Alexandria Seeloff, 5:01 for third. And that was the 50K. Then in the 50 miler, Brian Hall, 7 hours and 9. And first for the men, Diane Rothy, second overall. First for the women, 7:23. Erica Carlson, third overall. Second for the women, 7:49. Scott Kent, second for the men, 7:54. Peter Wyant, third for men, 8:10. And Andrea Stablefelt, 8:16, third for the women. Nice job, everyone, at Sugar Badger 50/50 in Belleville, Wisconsin. This last race was a late addition, but I thought it warranted a little discussion. So there's a runner in San Francisco, Paddy O'Leary, and he's from Ireland, but he moved to San Francisco, I don't know, several years now. I don't know. He's been living there, I'm guessing 8 or 9 years. I may be off on that, but he was a fast runner, and he found trail running when he moved to San Francisco, and he started doing really well. I believe he turned into a pro runner last year. I think he left his job and was just doing pro running. But anyway, he just went back to Ireland for a race, the Granite Peaks 80K. This is in the Mourne Mountains in Northern Ireland. And this race seems like no joke. It's a 50 miler with 16,000 feet of climbing.
God,
and if that's not enough, it's let's see. And after 30K, it was unmarked course with miles of bog, steep ups, and what felt like steeper downs. Proper hardy stuff. This is what Paddy was saying in his Instagram post.
Proper hardy.
Sunburn and horizontal hail too. That's the standard Irish combo, he says. His climbing legs and the stomach were flying all day long and navigated reasonably well on the open mountain, but he did get schooled by Ricky Wynn and Cillian Fleming on how to descend this steep, rocky, and boggy stuff. He had a solid day all around and content enough with the trip. Looks like his mom came out there. And this race is for the Irish mountain running team. It's kind of a trial for the Irish mountain running team. So he's hoping that he made that. But so crazy technical, huge climbing in the Mourne Mountains in Northern Ireland. And Paddy ended up getting second out there at that race. So that's
Paddy.
Pretty cool. It sounds extreme. There's a picture of the mountains. You can tell it's a proper Irish mountain running. So just some other cool races with cool names. Like we don't really have time to go over all these race results, but I just want to give a shout out to the cool names of the races. For some reason, Memorial Weekend is like just all the coolest names.
Pulls them out,
right? Yeah. Feel the Burn 50K in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Southern Chicken Fried 50K in Louisville, Georgia. Coalfields Backyard Ultra in Williamson, West Virginia. The Freedom 50 in Buckley, West Virginia. and the Flagstaff Doggy Dash and Ultra Bash, 6 and 12 hour in Flagstaff, and Bubbletown What the Duck 12 hour in Boiling Springs, Pennsylvania.
That is awesome.
So great job everyone on making races with cool ass names.
Stuff.
All right, let's talk about some FKTs. First, the Olympic Discovery Trail, as I mentioned in the agenda. This is looks like it's north of Olympic National Park, which is
skirts like the northern. Well, it like runs a lot along that northern, and then kind of dips down to the. Which you can kind of like. You can tell that it does just that. You can tell that it skirts the mountains because the elevation on it, the elevation's quote unquote only 6,400 over 135 miles. So it's not crazy. Yeah.
It's across the top of that island where Olympic National Park is, or maybe it's more of a peninsula. Just west of Seattle there. And so let's see, spans the Olympic Peninsula, composed of road along Highway 101 and multi-use path, starting in Port Townsend, ending at First Beach parking lot in La Push. The traverse filled with views of snow-capped peaks, ocean vistas, and fast-flowing rivers and blue lakes. So it sounds like it's pretty scenic. Run.
I mean, like, how is that not one of the most beautiful FKTs out there?
Seriously. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's 20, or let's see, the eastern section, 26 miles long, 24 miles completed and paved, and 2 miles of temporary on-road gravel, 9 bridges. Yeah. So anyways, very scenic. Sounds like maybe not too technical. It's like road type stuff. Micah Bauer just set the male supported FKT 1 day, 3 hours, 53 minutes. So basically about almost 28 hours for 135 miles, 6,400 feet. He broke the FKT for male supported only by less than 2 hours. So, but he got it.
I'm surprised, right? Like you're up there in the Pacific Northwest where there's a lot of really good runners.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder if it's like because they're so like. Have you noticed how there's like some FKTs that just kind of get left alone because of what they are? You know what I mean? Like a lot of FKTs just kind of get left alone because
it's not high profile.
It's road or it's like. I think a lot of your FKT nerds want trail, right? Like it's like they're trail runners, ultra runners, shit like that, right?
Sure.
And so if it's overly road, it may get left alone. You know what I mean? If it's and like because like I mean, 135 miles. I don't know. Like I guess look at Western States, right? Western States, you have the winner of that running it in what?
Fort Walmsley's record's like 14:07 or something.
Yeah, 14 and change.
Yeah.
So
he could crush this FKT. He could crush it in like
20 hours.
15. I'd say 15 hours.
Yeah, I get
maybe 17. Let's say 17 hours.
It's one of those things where like, what are we talking? It's yeah, I get it. It's 135 miles, but it's road. It's like to see the record is like 20. What was it? 27 hours.
It's almost 28 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, damn, dude. Like,
yeah.
I mean, shit. We know a couple 100-mile people that could probably get that FKT.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, right? Like, and like, I mean, I don't want to fucking sit here and shit on my but like I mean that's just it's interesting to me how some of them get left alone,
which
is cool because like shit, you and I are going to go to New York you and I are going to go to New York and like fucking dominate the Central Park one and the Prospect Park one.
Right.
We're gonna take that shit. You know what I mean? Like we will destroy that record.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting.
It did say his first 20 miles felt incredible. He was flying, maybe a bit too much. First mile clocked in at 6:55, which is in hindsight way too aggressive for a 135-mile effort. But miles were coming.
No, it's not, Micah. No, it's not, Micah. You keep leaning in that shit. Burn it down.
Miles were coming easily early on, and momentum carried me through the first stretch. Things took a turn around mile 70 when he stopped to change shoes. Instantly, his quad tightened up badly. From mile 80 onward, running became nearly impossible. Switched to a mix of walking and slow jogging and trying to hold on and keep moving forward. Trail had its challenges, it says, but the experience was unforgettable, especially one surreal moment at mile 103 when a mountain lion jumped out of the woods at him and his pacer, Brandon. It wasn't scared of them, and they had to call their crew to rush over and help scare it off. Jesus Christ.
I mean,
talk about a poop your pants moment.
Yeah, I mean, right there probably goes 90 minutes. I'd be shitting over myself.
Yeah. There is room for improvement, he said. He's proud how he managed despite the setbacks. What is this? Says nutrition.
I don't know why.
His nutrition's in like hieroglyphics.
Yeah, I know. I was like, what are we?
Bananas. He's got pictures of bananas.
I will also say this.
He has it color coded for the hour marks.
I will say this. Do you know how old this kid is?
I'm guessing young.
I want to stress the word kid. This motherfucker. He is like 19, 20 years. He's 19 or 20, depending on when his birthday is.
Oh man. Okay.
So this dude has, this dude had some potential upside here. Just I know we're talking about his FKT right now, but also just to put in perspective, this kid took 26 overall last year at Hellbender.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So he took 26 there, and then he's Santan Scramble down at Queen Creek.
Air Viper race.
Yeah. He took second overall at that in 2023 when he was only 18 years old.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, that also goes to show, like, this dude just hasn't done shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's done Hellbender, right? I mean, like, but he's done 100 miler. You know what I mean? Like, he has like the world to still learn. You know what I mean? And he's 20 years old, maybe.
He's got 10 years before he even hits his peak.
Dude, right? He has years ahead of him.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, put a pin in his name. He might be a really fun one to keep track of in 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye out. All right, let's talk about John Kelly. He's just out on the. So I think Saturday maybe his Appalachian Trail FKT started. It was over the weekend, 4 days ago. So what's today? Wednesday. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I think Saturday started of Memorial Weekend. He's just absolutely crushing it right now. He is. He started in Georgia, Springer Mountain, and he's already. This is day 4. He's already through the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah.
And he's on his way to like Damascus, I believe, Virginia.
It looks like it kind of looks like he's like he's dead north of Asheville. So I mean he is struck. He is ahead of Carl. He is ahead of his time for sure.
Yeah. So Carl's northbound FKT. Carl was still in the Smokies at this point, like in the first third of the Smokies.
Yeah.
And John is beyond the Smokies. And John's tracker they had trouble with it last night. But yeah, he is just moving. I did see his Instagram post from like an hour and a half ago, maybe 2 hours ago, though. So maybe we should listen to this. Can you hear that?
No.
Okay. Oh, I probably have to share the tab.
We also made a few mistakes, but
Can you hear that or no?
Yeah.
like a good team with good plan, we deflected those with minimal damage and water off a duck's back and all that, which
and all
is
that.
kind of how I felt.
They hit some rain. I guess they hit some serious rain last night.
in a lot of places. So that was something I wanted to do for timing.
Does it look like he's limping?
To get through the Smokies with those two long sections there.
He said he's going through a low spot.
And what I need to do now, I'm going to have a shorter day, only about 54 miles.
A shorter day, only 54
miles.
I'm
going to go about 20 more.
I think you went 70
got a couple of pretty sizable climbs, but then I am going to try to catch up on a bit of sleep, realign my...
So yeah, he's going to sleep. He said he could go 15 more miles, and he has 20 more miles from this point when he's filming, and he said he could go an additional 15 after that and get a hotel room with a shower, but he knows he's behind on his sleep, so he's going to stop after the 20 miles to get some sleep. So
he is 100% limping.
That's what I thought too. But
he's 100% limping.
He says his legs feel fine, but
I mean, maybe his legs does feel fine. Maybe it's his fucking foot that hurts. But that dude is limping. Like there is not a shadow of doubt that dude is limping.
Yeah, I agree. That's the first thing I thought too when I saw that.
It's interesting. No one's even asking him, "Hey, is that a limp?" Like no one's even bringing that up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he is crushing it though. So
yeah, he's killing it.
We'll see if we'll see what happens, and we'll keep everybody updated. All right. Well, I guess it's time to jump into, first thing I want to talk about before we jump into the main news story is that Jim Walmsley has seemingly dropped out of Western states. And as of yesterday, there really wasn't any statement from him at all about why he dropped out. I mean, I can only speculate it has something to do with injury or something, right? He was injured at UTMB last year, which is why he dropped out. But then he seemingly ran a really good race at Chianti and won. So I'm not really sure if that messed him up or what, but he's out. And interesting thing is that the person that came off the wait list since Jim dropped out is Dan Green, who just won Copacabana.
What a coinky dinka. He just happens to be right there right after he won Coco, right? Like, it is really funny because, like, just imagine that dude doesn't win Coco. And let's just say he was really, truly at that spot on the wait list. And he gets drawn. People are like, all right, some fucker named Dan Green. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like, no one even bats an eye. No one bats an eye if this dude hadn't won Coco.
Yeah.
And he's getting in. Now, though, you're like, oh, shit. Youngster's going to come out there and burn that bitch to the ground.
Yeah. If he showed us anything at Coco, it's that he's a smart runner. Like, he's very calculated, and he's very steady. Like,
and he has speed for days.
Yeah.
He has speed for days. Like, he's
got the endurance. He's got the endurance.
Yeah. This dude's a collegiate cross country runner. Like, it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see him run.
Yeah. Obviously having Jim in the race made it the most interesting, but if Dan Green's the consolation prize, that's not too bad. And, so now, Jim's out, Hayden is out, and I'm guessing that those two were going to be featured in the Unbreakable 2 that they were filming this year. Journey Film, JB Benna was filming with, and Dylan Bowman was, Free Trail was going to be part of that project as well. But I'm guessing those two guys were going to be featured in the film because Dylan Bowman just made a post yesterday saying that Unbreakable 2, for various reasons, is not going to happen. So we can only speculate that those two were a big part of it. So Dan Green's in. I would imagine right now that Killian Jornet is going to be the favorite. But anything can happen. These are just a few of the other people we have in the race, right? We have the young guns, Hans Troyer, and I'm throwing Dan Green into the young guns category as well. Yeah. Both East Coast guys, Eastern side of the United States guys, both young, both very hungry. So they'll be in that lead pack. Rod Farvard kept up with Walmsley, or was leading Walmsley for a lot of Western states last year. He's there. David Roche, who's won and set course records for both of the 100-milers he's done, Leadville and Javelina. He's for sure a podium contender. Former Western States champ Adam Peterman also towing the line, and he's seemingly back from his injury and strong. String Bean will be bringing his A game, fresh off a second place finish at Black Canyon this year. So, there's no shortage of talent. It's still going to be awesome, even with Jim and Hayden out. I actually just saw a clip of Killian doing heat training in Norway, or explaining how he does heat training in Norway. Pretty interesting. But 15 years after he won, after he was featured in Unbreakable, right? 2010. But he ended up going on to win Western States after Unbreakable. But anyway, let's move on to the main news story.
The juicy stuff.
So I'm going to remain neutral here and just kind of like go over everything that happened. So Scott Trayer, who let's just say this right from the start. Scott said he has friends at Aravaipa. He's volunteered with Aravaipa, and he has even race directed and commentated and created media for Aravaipa. So he's like closely connected with Aravaipa. And he said in his post that he believes they are pushing the sport forward. And he considers the people their friends, not race organizers and race directors. So, with that being said, he felt his communication over something that happened at Black Canyon was like a little bit lackluster, and something that he witnessed. And he was questioning the decisions that were made about the penalty for the violations that he witnessed. And let's just go through his Instagram post that we have up here on the screen. It's a picture of him with his hands out cheating at Black Canyon 100K. And then he says, at Black Canyon 100K this year, he witnessed a top 10 athlete cut the course by an estimated 4 minutes and 46 seconds. That's the estimate that Aravaipa came up with. And when they ruled that the athlete was guilty of it. And the race rules regarding deviating from the course in the runner manual and during the pre-race brief are as follows. And it goes on to say that, if you deviate from the course, you have to go back to where you got off course. And if you don't, it's a disqualification. Later in the same race, same athlete was crewed illegally on the trail, 0.3 miles from an uncrewed aid station, or not non-crew accessible aid station. Crew member hiked in, attempted to hide at least one bottle behind his back as Scott passed, and then turned to see the athlete accept the bottle. And Scott filed verbal and written reports with Aravaipa. Aravaipa investigated both of the infractions. They ended up given a 20-minute time penalty for cutting the course, not the DQ that they had in the runner manual. No penalty assessed for being crewed on the trail because the athlete dropped the bottle when they came into the aid station, 0.3 miles from being crewed. And Scott does go on to say that the athlete is on the Aravaipa racing team, which potentially creates a conflict of interest in this ruling.
Yeah.
And Scott says it's not fair to create rules for an event and then change the rules after someone broke them. They all agreed to the rules before the race. Why is he bringing this up now? Well, he recently found out that at Canyon's 100 mile, some athletes raised suspicion about the same athlete, including one athlete that gave what UTMB referred to as verbal opinion to the race director after the event. And Scott says, to be 100% clear, he was not at Canyon's 100 mile, and UTMB stated a first instance review of the report has clearly clarified that the athlete completed the full course at Canyons, and the results are as they stand. So he said, but what occurred at Black Canyon is not speculation, and it was ruled the athlete did in fact cut the course and did in fact crew at the uncrewed aid station. So to summarize at the end, he says the message was hard to post, but he loves the sport and wants every athlete to have a fair chance to compete for their dreams. So Scott Traer issues this post, and then Jamil Curry and Aravaipa, they did awake to this to this issue, right? Because it really brings the issue to the forefront. So they subsequently issue a statement after Scott's post, and it even says, earlier today, this post and it links to Scott's post, accused Ferdinand Herald of cheating at Black Canyon. So really what happened was that Ferdinand left Bumblebee Ranch, and when he left Bumblebee Ranch aid station, he forgot his water bottles. Okay, we'll say that was the first thing that kind of happened that led to some of this stuff. So he got off course. He was supposed to turn onto the Black Canyon single track at one point, and he missed the turn, and he stayed on the dirt road that paralleled the Black Canyon single track trail. He went like a quarter mile, and then he got to the Crown King Road where crew drives on to get to Bumblebee Ranch. He saw a sheriff, asked the sheriff if he was on track. The sheriff said yes. He went another like quarter mile, ended up going like 0.62 miles or something. And then he assessed where he was, realized he was supposed to be on the single track, which was not too far away. I'm guessing it was like less than 1/10 of a mile. So he, instead of going back to where he missed the turn, he just cut right across the desert to the single track.
So scroll down a little bit. Scroll down. There's a pretty cool little drawn diagram that shows.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And so, listen, like, I hear everything you're typing out. I see, but, like, you can't convince me that the route he took was much faster than the trail route. Right now, I don't know. I did he do it on purpose? I don't know. Only he knows that, right? Only he truly knows if he did it on purpose. Yeah. But I mean, I will say he cut across at a pretty convenient time, it looks like. You know what I mean? He cut across when that thing was about as close as it can get.
Yeah,
And oh, by the way, there is not a single person who's ever ran a trail race that doesn't know you're supposed to backtrack.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So,
but yeah, this is a pretty cool trail. Just drawing for what you're talking about right now.
And if he would have stayed on the single track, or if he would have turned onto the single track like he was supposed to, it was like 0.64 miles. So it was pretty much the same distance. Dirt road is obviously probably easier to run on than a single track trail, but you're right. I don't think there would have been much of a time difference.
Yeah.
So let me just, so Jamil's statement was how they came to their decision to issue a 20-minute penalty originally, right? They, race director Jubilee Page did extensive info gathering on race day when the 100K was still going on after, and Aravaipa made the penalty decision on Sunday, the day after the race. Ferdinand did not object to the 20-minute penalty. That knocked him from 10th place to 14th place. Jamil mentioned in his statement, he acknowledges that feedback on decisions that they make is good to receive. He's talking about Scott's feedback, or even any public feedback. He says he calls it a gut check to know if they are on track, and they may make decisions in an echo chamber. He realizes this. He also invites anyone to provide feedback on the statement. So Aravaipa's rules, as we already mentioned, clearly state you must retrace your steps. If he did retrace steps, he would have gone an additional 1.25 miles. So that's why they ended up, they believe that he did it. They believe that he did it accidentally, and that's why they issued the 20-minute penalty. Okay. And so they felt that the situation warranted a time penalty versus a DQ because they didn't feel the course cut was malicious. He says in hindsight, he wished that they had in the rules that they would have left more room for nuance and left some things to be up to the discretion of the race management. But the problem is they did not put those things in the rules. They did change the rules after the fact. That statement says as much. They've updated their rules for the future to allow for nuance and have the ability to assess situations and issue time penalties or DQs at their discretion. So they changed the rule after the fact. Okay. So let's move on to the unauthorized aid before we say what happened next. So I mentioned he left Bumblebee without his water bottles. He forgot the water bottles. Okay. So he didn't, and the next aid station, which is Gloriana, is not crew accessible. So he was technically going to have to go like a almost 13-mile stretch without water bottles in the desert. So his wife, Ferdinand's wife, realized that he forgot the water bottles, and Ferdinand's friend dropped out at Bumblebee and got a ride from Ferdinand's wife, and he became part of the crew, and that was Cyril Garcia. So they tried contacting Aravaipa Race Management to see if they could potentially drop the water bottles off at that uncrewed accessible aid station. They didn't really go too far into what the response was to that. They just said it's not typical protocol or something.
It really annoys me that they even, like, here's a weird thing. It even annoys me that they've had the audacity to ask.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's a non-crew accessible aid station.
Yeah.
So no, you cannot. You're not special.
Right.
No, you can't go to the aid station to drop off your runner's water bottles. that their dumbass forgot in the desert. It sucks to fucking suck.
It
Sounds
sucks
like he's
to
going to be
suck.
thirsty. Sounds like he's going to be thirsty at the next time you get to see him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Why don't like? I don't. I. That's
So-
such a stupid.
So 0.3 miles from the aid station, Scott Traer notices Cyril Garcia walking towards Ferdinand, hiding a bottle behind his back. He noticed that. He turned around to see Cyril give Ferdinand the water bottle. And he told them, I think he told them it's against the rules. You know, you can't, it's not a crew accessible aid station. Even if it was a crew accessible aid station, I don't think they could receive crew 0.3 miles from the aid station.
It's pretty far out. Yeah.
But I think what it was at Cocodona was like a quarter mile. I think you had to be within a quarter mile. But anyway, so Ferdinand does take this into consideration because he doesn't drink from the water bottles. He leaves the water bottles at the Gloriana aid station, realizing that there was a problem. And I later learned that he contacted race management to ask if he should stop or if he can keep going. And they said they'll do the info gathering and make a decision later that he should continue on with the race. Now, they determined that since he left the bottles there and didn't use them, that he did not accept aid illegally. You know, and it was corroborated.
I actually agree with that.
Okay.
I actually agree with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Now, so I agree. Hey, listen, he got caught. He got caught with his hand in a cookie jar. He dropped the fucking cookie back in the jar. Did he eat the cookie? No, he didn't eat the cookie.
Yeah.
Did he get caught doing something wrong? Fuck yeah, he did.
I
you know
mean,
what I mean? Like,
technically, he got crude.
Yeah. He got crude. Yeah. Yeah. He got crude.
I don't know. That one's a little more gray than the course cutting.
Yeah.
But,
that one I'm not bent out of shape. Like I just like there's just something that's like, come on, man. What are we talking about?
So, in conclusion of the first statement by Aravaipa, so they basically explained why they issued a 20-minute penalty for course cutting and not the DQ. And then they did what they felt was right. And they didn't issue a penalty for the crew, the water bottles. So they thanked Scott for raising his concerns, and they sent him. They mentioned that they sent him an email in February with a summary of what happened and how they came to their decision. And so anyway, they actually invited the public to submit feedback, and then but they didn't say they were going to change their ruling. They just said this is that, and this is how we came to the decision. Well, 4 days later, May 27th, which is yesterday, by the way, Jamil and Aravaipa, they issued another statement, and it was a follow-up to the first statement. And they said, upon further investigation, deliberation, and conversations with both Ferdinand and Scott, Aravaipa decided to change the penalty to a DQ, disqualification. They thanked Scott and the community for feedback. They agreed their communications with Scott were not the best, as he reached out several times for explanations on their decisions. Scott's main concern was that there wasn't a penalty for receiving aid at the non-crew accessible aid station. Aravaipa, Jamil, he said they're committed to better communication. They're sorry that it became drawn out in a public manner, and they acknowledge it should be fair and even playing field, especially these days when competition, has grown and matured. They're going to take a look at all their decision-making processes. So they changed their mind based on public pressure. And I think it was the right thing to do, because you can't just change the rules, like Scott said, that everybody agreed to before the race.
That's the bigger thing. Like, even if, I mean, it happened. It is what it is, right? On purpose, on accident, whatever. Darn it, it happened. You've got it. Like, these are the rules.
Yeah.
We all agreed to these rules. You know what I mean? And,
I remember
they probably were like, they probably really didn't want to do it. They probably like, I mean, like, shit. I think about when my kids do something dumb. I'm like, oh, really don't want to have to punish them for this, because like that is 100% some dumb shit I would have done. But alas, here we are. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
That's right. That's right.
It's just, yeah.
It sounds like the second statement was they were really owning up to not making a good initial decision.
Yeah.
I'm glad Scott did call him out, because I don't think anything would have happened if he just let it go, to be honest.
No, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on, like, see how this dude progresses down the road too. You know what I mean? Like, because, all right, if we had a little weird thing happening here, and then we had a little weird thing happening up at Canyons 100,
which he won, by the way.
Which, yeah. So, all right, so it's like, what is it? It's like one time is an accident, 2 times we're starting to build a habit, 3rd, 4th time, that is our character that we're talking about, right? Like it is like, that is who you are. It is funny because I didn't immediately recognize his name, but I also had kind of remembered that the dude who had the shoe stack thing had an interesting name. So I did have to Google and go back and see. I'm like, oh wait, no, these are 2 entirely wildly different ass people. So it is funny because I was like, wait a second, is this motherfucker same dude who had the shoe stack issue? But it's not.
Yeah, and my final kind of statement is that really trail running, the whole identity of trail running is just about having fun, being fair. Us back of the Packers line up on the same starting line as the elites. We all follow the same rules. No one should get special treatment. If they wanted to leave it up to their discretion about a time penalty versus a DQ, they should have had it in the rules before the race.
Yeah, put it in writing. Yeah. I mean, listen, then you're opening up all kinds of like, oh, well, let's see what happens when I cut the course versus when so-and-so cuts the course. You know what I mean?
It would be better to have it in black and white.
It just needs to be like, there's just certain things in life that it's like, dude, just make it to where it's as uniform as possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as easy as possible.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. This isn't the last of this. Like, they will, I'm sure there'll be some follow-up on it. And I mean, I'm glad it happened, because everybody's human. Like, everybody makes mistakes. Like, I can see, a lot of times I'm like the nice guy, like, where I was in positions of management before where I really wanted to, like, kind of look the other way sometimes. Because I kind of felt for my employees, like, like, I understood why they did the things they did sometimes, so, it's tough. It's tough, but I'm glad it all kind of resolved itself. I remember another race director in the East. I'm not going to name any names, but he did something similar, and a podcast host called him out on it, and he said something very, very rude to the podcast host. But that's something different. But anyway, so that was the news on what happened. I literally spent like 2 hours last night breaking this down, because there was so much, and I wanted to make sure that we didn't, like misspeak on it or skip over anything. So, but all right, well, wow, it's already an hour and 4 minutes in.
We'll wrap up pretty good time though, because this is a good topic for the 3 Ts.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about how to pick a race. I'll let Johnny go first, but what are there factors that you take into consideration when you're trying to decide what race? What are those factors? Location, scenery, just like feeling, like bucket list. Just you can go ahead and elaborate.
So I think, generally speaking, up until very, very, very recent, I would generally say I'm not great at finding new races and good races. Like, I rely on like you and Chaz and Pete to be like, oh, I heard of this fucking race. And I'm like, oh, no shit, let me look into it. And then if I'm like, oh, that does look kind of cool, I'm like, yeah, let's do this damn thing. You know what I mean? And for me, it's just that. For me, it's as simple as that. It's, does this look cool? I mean, like, I hate to say it, it's not a whole lot more to it for me. I mean, Mo, by the way, good luck to all Mo runners this weekend coming up.
Yes.
For me, Mohican was, it looks cool. It's, I believe, the seventh oldest ultra in the seventh oldest 100 miler in the U.S. So you got a little bit of old schoolness with it. So there is that one, right? Rim to River, it's a new race. It was its inaugural year. It's right down the road. Also looks pretty cool. I mean, come on, you're running through ghost towns. How fucking cool is that? Tahoe, I mean, looks pretty fucking cool. Let's do that. Yeah. I will say, and like, so what does cool mean to me? Like, if I say, oh, it looks cool, for me, is for something to look cool, there's got to be an element of difficulty to it. I generally don't get down with like rail to trail stuff. I don't normally get down with like flat stuff. I want something that's pretty. I want something that's kind of tough. I want something that has a little bit, maybe some history to it. You know what I mean? I do tend to like a little bit of the old school shit. I mean, Old Dominion has broken my heart twice. It's the second oldest 100 in the U.S. So like that's what I look for. So like I said, up until very recently, I try to keep it local. I try to keep it like I can drive to it.
Yeah.
Right now, that was also worked out really, really well because it would just made it easy. Now, living the empty nest life, now all of a sudden it's like, well, let's like once a year, let's find a dope ass race in Oregon and fly out to Oregon and do a dope race in Oregon once a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, hey, let's, maybe something in, out, northern central Cali or something like that, right? And so it's that kind of thing. Like I am starting to now probably be able to appreciate the destination kind of runs, turn it into a vacation. So, but for me, it's there's a level of like just, oh hey, someone said this looks like a cool race. Let me look at it real fast. Oh shit, that does look kind of cool. Like let's. We were talking about at the beginning of the podcast. I will more than likely, age and just this like fucking lingering injury, have to dial back, what I can still squeeze in under the guise of that looks cool. But that's probably that's usually how I do mine. Something a little tough, something's kind of pretty. I'm probably good to go with it.
Yeah. It's really evolved for me since I started ultra running. Like when I first started ultra running, I was, living in Michigan, and all my running connections and friends were in Ohio. So I really was like doing all the Ohio, like, rite of passage. I call them rite of passage races, right? Like, started off with Forget the PR 50K in Mohican. And then that became my flagship race, like I was volunteering and running the racetrack to race and all that every year. So, that tradition for that. And then like Burning River was kind of when it was a point to point, that was my first 100-mile attempt, and foot pain knocked me out. I timed out at 74. And then I got it done at Indiana Trail 100. I was salty from not finishing Burning River, right?
Yeah.
And Indiana was in April back then. So I was like, what's like reasonable to recover from Burning River and put in a training block, and how soon can I get 100 done? Right. So Indiana was in April, worked out, got it done. And then it was like, let's go back to Burning River and get that done, which I did the following year. And then it was like the next step in toughness, right? Mohican 100. And, so then I got that done. But, so it was kind of like regional for me. I did travel for my first 50 miler the same year I did my first 50K. I wanted to see what a mountain race was like. Jessica's cousin lived in Steamboat, so I went out and did Run Rabbit Run 50. Totally kicked my ass. Lucas came on that trip.
That's a jump. That is a jump right there.
Yeah, it was. And honestly, like, it was a ball buster, especially coming from Ohio, was not ready for that first like 3,600 foot climb up to Mount Warner, but anyway, once I moved to San Francisco, then I did travel for a few races here and there, but once I moved to San Francisco, I was like, shit, I can't do Miwok. There's no way I can make those cutoffs,
Dude, golly days, yeah.
And that was a famous race that I had heard of.
Yeah.
And so I just started kind of looking for races that, seemed reasonable to me. And then I met my running friend, Sean, who had finished Hard Rock. He had finished UTMB, he had finished Fat Dog, finished Wasatch and Bear and like all these mountain races. And we were running together, and he just kind of convinced me, like, you can do these mountain races that I never thought I could really do, right? With all the climbing. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I did Mohican, had like 13,000 feet of climbing, and that like put a hurting on me. But so he convinced me, and then I started just doing the mountain races, and ended up really loving them. So I got convinced that I could do Hard Rock, but now that I'm like 47, I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of wavering on it a little bit, but maybe I'll still try to keep doing Hard Rock qualifiers and try to get in. That's my main bucket list race. Not Western States. Western States, I'll apply and I would run it if I got in, and I would be honored, and I would train my ass off. But it's not a bucket list race because it's not suited to me. It's a hot race. You have to be fast.
Pretty fast, yeah. It is funny because like I am more similar to you. You're a better version of what I am, but you and I are similar in the sense of like I can suffer and climb with the fucking best of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like I need to just be able to suffer. I don't want to go fast, but I will suffer for days on end.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And so like for me, like the mountain races probably do tend to be what I'd probably be better at between. Like, I can see where like, fucking Western States would just absolutely rail me. It is funny. So like it's funny because like you start talking and it made me realize that what really like I kind of feel bad for some folks because we're talking about how do you choose your race. There are people out there that choose their races basically for fucking qualifiers. Like they are enslaved to like Western States and fucking Hard Rock and where like they pick their races every year whether or not they're qualifiers for their dream race. And then
Yeah.
everything's built around that. Well, I'm going to run these races to get ready for this qualifier race so I can do this. And it's like, golly, that would get, I guess it makes it kind of easy to kind of pick your shit,
Yeah.
but it would also be really just kind of frustrating. So you got me thinking about that. Like, man, there are people out there that does that. And that I feel bad for them in a weird kind of way. The other thing that I realized about me, and I didn't even think about it until we started talking a little bit more, and you mentioned a couple of races and it made it kind of pop in my head. The other thing I used to really think about, and I find myself not thinking about it as much, but it used to be a major thing for me, is the who puts on the race.
Yeah.
Now, like, don't get me wrong, I love like, forget the PR and stuff like that, like there are all of their money goes to charity right now.
Love that.
I get it. There's races that's profit races, and I'm not going to hate on you for being a profit race, but still be a good RD. Still have, like Air Viper is a good example of that. Like, you're not going to find a more profitable race,
right?
But they do a great job.
They do. You can tell they don't like.
Yeah, they don't skip out. Now,
yeah,
you and I, unfortunately, are familiar with a race who has a great history, has a great lineage, and unfortunately is maybe not under the best leadership right now. And it's like, what are we effing doing, dude? You are killing me. Like, you're killing me. And I'd love to see that race sold off. It never, like, it won't be because it's his cash cow. But like, you're just like, daggone it. It just sucks to sit here and watch. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not even mad at him for being a profit RD. But dude, what are we talking about? Like, just do the right thing by the runners and by the community.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. There's some really great race companies out there. Like, even if it's for profit, and generally I like the smaller ones, and like Inside Trail in California, like their Bay Area, and also like Auburn. They put on Muck. That's like maybe my favorite race company, right? Like, and I love, I love the Playing Possum, Mark and Chad. Those guys, top notch, man.
Daybreak seems like a pretty good race.
Race.
And they're out of Oregon and a little bit in California. They seem like they're pretty good.
Yeah, and, these guys all have like experience running ultras, and they want to make a good experience for the runner, and I think that that means a lot. So there's lots of factors that you consider. Johnny said qualifiers, like, so the mountain races that I do, I try to make them hard rock qualifiers, but even though they're qualifiers, they're still like bucket list races, right?
Cool races,
like Fat Dog. I've always wanted to do Fat Dog, even before I even knew it was a hard rock qualifier. So that was a bonus. And I did do Bear because it's a hard rock qualifier, but also because it's a very long time, like, staple 100-miler in the mountains. And qualifiers can be like bucket list races too. But I don't like when people are in the mindset like, oh, I have to do this race because I need a qualifier. Like, you should do the race because you want to do the race, right? Because I'll tell you this, if it doesn't mean something to you, you're not going to have a good race.
It is really easy. Like, fuck this shit.
Right.
Yeah.
Some races just called out to me too, over the years. I'm like, for no rhyme or reason, right? Like, Kodiak 100. I was just like, I want to do that race. Like, I don't even think it was a Western States qualifier when I did it. I was just like, I want to do that race.
It's just like some things are just like, you're like, huh, that's intriguing. You know what I mean? Like, like, it is funny because, like, I also, I look at races like, all right, so like Old Dominion, right? Like, I'm just not built for Old Dominion, right? And now, like, I had my shot at it, I fucked it up, I had my one shot. So now it's kind of funny because now I'm like, you know what? Vermont is kind of the poor man's Old Dominion. And so now there's like this like fucked up part of me is like, you know what? Vermont might be kind of funny to go to. And I shouldn't call it the poor man's Old Dominion. I simply mean that it's roughly an identical race that you get 2 additional hours to do. Like it is, they are very, very similar. And
Yeah.
it's since that there's a fair amount of road, if not a lot of road.
It's all like rolling.
Yeah,
nice roads.
You know, like the elevation's all about the same. I think it's even roughly. I think it's like a few weeks after Old Dominion. So it's a
you
hot
don't you don't get a buckle unless you go 24. I think
at Old
at
Dominion.
Vermont too.
Oh, I thought Vermont you got a buckle no matter what up there.
I'd have to look into that.
I know for a fucking fact you're going to get a buckle at Old Dominion for 24.
Yeah, you get a gym bag if you're under 28.
You get a shitty ass gym bag. Oh, I can't believe like that thing will forever haunt me. That so
yeah.
But
okay.
We can wrap it up in less than 90 minutes. Are you looking up Vermont real quick?
Yeah, so you will receive a belt buckle if you finish the Vermont 100 in under 24 hours.
Oof, boy.
Or finishing in 24 or less earns a large buckle, while those finishing between 24 and 30 receive a small buckle. Oh, okay.
There you go.
So if you get a buckle, yeah. I'm very interested in Vermont as well. I like the idea of a non-technical 100 mile.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really cool to me about Vermont is go ahead and try to find their course.
Yeah.
Go ahead and look up Vermont's 100 mile course.
Yeah.
It does not exist online.
It's because it goes through some private land that only gives them access on race day.
Yeah, and so they want to make sure that, and again, here we go, RDs being good human beings. So they do not release the map. They don't release the map because they don't want dickheads going up there and running across some dude's cow pasture, in the middle of fucking May.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do they let people post their GPS on? I wonder.
I don't know how they can't not let them do that, right? Like I would assume you could probably go find it on Strava somewhere, some way where someone has done it. But even then, I think that's probably the closest you want to get to it.
Yeah. One last thing I wanted to mention quickly about this, how to pick a race. I think format. You mentioned format, and format. Format has a lot, because we were talking about how Robert's doing 6 days in the dome, and I think for me, I'm ready for something new.
I'm ready.
Yeah, like a new format, right? Like a 24-hour race or a backyard ultra, like something different than the traditional, 100-miler or whatever. Yeah, so I think that's on my horizon. But and one last thing I want to mention, Robert's Substack is called The Even Split. So if anybody out there wants to check out Robert's articles on Substack, go to the Even Split and read his stuff. All right. Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
It's about perfect timing too. So my headphones about to die too.
All right. So yeah, let's get out of here. Thanks everyone for listening, and we will catch you next week.
Cool. Thank you.